Hi, I'm Brian Dunn, and welcome to the most important podcast ever. What makes it so important? It's not about me, it's about you. This podcast is about ordinary people doing extraordinary things, the moments of resilience, the lessons learned, and the small acts that made a big difference. From retail floors to boardrooms, we'll share the untold stories that shape lives and careers. This week, we have part 2 of our sit down with Angie Bruhn. Remember her from episode 30, and now last week, episode 62. And here she is for episode 63. Thanks so much, Angie, for staying with us.
Yeah, I'm honored. Thank you so much.
We talked about a lot of rich stuff in the first episode, the first installment of this. What I'd love to start off with here is sort of, we touched on the aftermath of some of these changes. I remember when I left, when Best Buy and I separated, I felt like my whole world had collapsed. And people that I thought were like true friends were gone. And I remember just sort of sifting through that, almost like a house that's burned down. Mm. And you're just like looking at some charred remains of pictures. Doesn't that sound grim? And by the way, this is your episode, not mine. But on that high note, that's got to be a common thing people go through.
Yeah, absolutely. You think, well, first, we talked about this a little bit about how we evolve, right? And as humans, that's what we're meant to do. We're meant to evolve, and we're meant to have experiences and have things in life that challenge us and things in life that give us joy. It's just part of who we are, right? And it's part of the deal, right? And as we evolve, though, the thing to know is that we're often saying goodbye to people who don't come along with us. And that is often the hardest for people, because they want to hold on to what feels comfortable. They want to hold on to who feels comfortable, right? And when there's a pivotal moment in someone's life, like a layoff or a divorce or a diagnosis, and people start to kind of fall away as you're going through that experience, that, as we called it on episode 62, the wreckage, right? As you kind of sift through that wreckage and those people kind of go away, first know they're never intended to go with you on this next chapter, right? Because as you're evolving, they're either going to stay behind or they're going somewhere else. They're going to their own chapter. So know that it's personal. It hurts, especially I can imagine for someone like yourself, Brian. Like the thing that I will always remember about who you were and how you showed up when we worked at Best Buy was you'd walk into a store, you'd walk into anywhere, and it's like you lose yourself in the conversations with the cashier, right? When that's just part of who you are. So I can imagine that cut deeper probably than most would. Here's what I share. And sometimes this is for a company that I share this with clients that I work with. Sometimes this is for specific humans. Both could be family, could be friends, could be past colleagues, could be past bosses, right? Write a letter. Mm. I know it seems very simple, but write a letter as if you're writing a letter to the company, as if you're writing a letter to that person, right? Because there comes a point when you've got to let it go.
Yep.
Right? Because the only person now that it's affecting is you, and it's holding you back, right? And you got to make way for new relationships, Just like you got to, if it's the organization, you got to make way for the new job. You got to make room for those people to come in. And they can't come in if you're still holding on
That's right.
to someone else, right? And so what I always say is write a letter, get out all of this stuff, right? In terms of how you're feeling, the things that you would want to say to them if they're sitting across from you, and then burn it. Burn it. And as you burn it, say, I'm letting it go.
Right.
And I've been having, this is a action that I have had people take for years. And it always comes back as I felt lighter, felt more clear. Right. And so if you're holding on, and this is for you, and this is for anybody listening, if you're holding on to something or someone, you got to make way for the new. And you can't if you're holding on, if you're holding on to the old.
I think there's such wisdom in that. I always likened it to and this is how I sort of make sense of, and this is my teachable point of view. You ready? I
Yeah.
think it's like we're all riding on the river, right? We're on a raft on the river, and we see people standing on the shoreline. Sometimes we have them hop on our raft. We share a raft for a piece of time, and then we go around a bend and they hop off. Or maybe you hop off. But it's okay, because it's great that we rode the river together for a while.
Yep.
And now we're on and we're making room for new people to ride in the raft with us. I know it sounds real flowery, like flowery bullshit, but it's actually, I believe it, and I think it holds up, Angie. I really do. At least it did for me. And you and I talked about this today. I don't believe in coincidences.
Mm-hmm.
I believe serendipity is very much in play.
Yep.
When we meet people, and if we're open to it, we meet the right person at the right time as we're going down the river. And to do that, we got to make sure that we got the right people on the raft,
Yeah.
right? And I'm going to drain this metaphor to death, but my point is, it also works in your personal life. You have to be willing to have your raft right-sized from time to time. And it's really important to my well-being anywhere. So if there's any psychiatrists or psychologists or coaches out there that think I'm crazy here, please let me know. But send it in a DM, will you? I have just found that metaphor to be very comforting.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Because otherwise, you get caught up in this thing of, was this real? Was that real? And it doesn't matter, right? Because
Yep.
it was.
Yep. It was at the time, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Is it a common, people have difficulty letting go? The people you coach?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's a good question. And for sure. And letting go of not just people, but things and ideas. We're creatures of habit. And our experience with change depends on our ability, how we can move through it, our ability to move through it, right? And it's one of the things I tell people often is, you can't expect somebody that has gone through no change or hardships in their life to understand and be able to move at the same pace that you can through change, right? It's personal and it's our own experience. But yeah, it's hard.
My best friends, and I say this all the time, when we're sitting around and it's the rare night that I'm up past 10 o'clock and we're having a chat, my best friends have all suffered. I don't have a lot of close friends that haven't been through difficult stuff. Have you found that?
That's trauma bonding, man.
Is that
That's
what it is?
classic trauma. Well, yes, but also, yeah,
Hang on.
that's
I love it. I love it. I am gonna kill that term.
yeah. That and it's funny because even as kids, like I see this with our kids, right? They're naturally drawn to people who have had experiences like them, right? Because there's common ground there. And well, I think two things. There's common ground and the conversations can go deeper than
Mhm,
surface level. And there's and that's what makes those relationships more interesting, right?
mhm.
You probably have a very hard time having small talk and chit chat with people that stays surface level. And yeah, but yeah, it's trauma bonding. It's classic.
But I love that. I've got a term for it now. The although I do have this thing, I have the retail gene still. Like I chat up my baristas, I chat up people in the grocery line because I'm actually genuinely interested. Like
Yes.
I asked a guy who was bagging my grocery, "What's your greatest hopes and dreams?" Just looked at me
I
like,
ask the cashier at our grocery store all the time. I can tell. I'll go through the line and I'm like, "Hey man, your energy's off. Are you okay today?" And he's like, "Who are you?" Right? Like, why are you even assessing my energy? And I'm like, I just no joke.
yeah.
One night he was like, I went through for a couple of things and I was like, hey, I don't even I can't. I'm like, your energy's off. You okay today? He's like, I'm having a really hard day. My health is bothered. And he goes on and on and on and on. And then
Oh,
sometimes you're like, man, can we just get through the register? I got kids to get home and feed. But then there's sometimes where you just where I sit because it's not the first time he's unloaded on me on things that are happening in his life now that he know. I swear he sees me coming. He's like, oh, it's the energy girl. She's gonna ask me what's happening in my life, right? But my point was, yes, I mean, you're of course you're gonna have those conversations,
yeah.
but just listen to the question you just said you ask.
Right.
You didn't
Right.
ask, hey, how's the weather?
Right.
Right. Well,
Right.
how's the
Right.
is the temperature of that latte you're making me at 200 degrees or is it at 180? You're like, what are your hopes and dreams?
Are you digging bagging my groceries today? Right? Oh, that's so funny. Um, I are there a lot of common threads for the people you're
Mhm.
coaching? And is your practice mostly people that have 30s, 40s, 50s, or are you sort of all over the place?
Yeah, it's funny because nobody's ever asked me that question before about the common thread. And there's so most people that I coach, it's typically one-on-one. Now I am launching, or I have launched a new program that is a group program that will help the uh, it'll expand who I currently coach, right? But at its core, for the last 7.5 years, the people that I coach are all in this bucket where they've got 7 to 12 years of working life left.
Mhm.
And there is what I call a lot of in my Gen X trash bag of common threads that we all share because we were either raised in difficult situations or raised by the corporate world in similar situations. And so there is a lot of common thread between us. And so I hear a lot of the same stories, just sometimes dressed up in a different costume um,
Yep.
for the
Yep.
people that I support.
And do you find, is there a big variance in how people are able to get through it? Do some people not get through it, Angie? I guess is what I'm asking.
Some people don't get through it. It's a very small percentage, to be honest, right? It's a smaller percentage. The It's a larger percentage of people that do, and I think that the reason why there's a larger percent, well, first of all, there are people that are not coachable, and those are not typically people that I take on to begin with.
I was very inartful in how I asked the question. That's what I wanted to get at.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm blessed in a way of my business now comes from referrals, and it's been that way for the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 out of the 7.5 years. They come from conversations, and so there are people that want to do the deep work, right? So I'm not a transactional coach. I'm not the one that you come to if you say, I just need help getting my resume done and moving from one organization to the next. That does
Right.
not fulfill me. I want to talk to people who are in the middle of that wreckage that you described, or at the start of the wreckage, and are who come and say, I don't even know how to help myself, so I'm not sure how you're going to help me. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And those are the people that I want to talk to, because those are the people doing the identity work, right? When something gets disrupted in their life, that's when I want them to call me, because to figure out who they become next and what they do, right? And so for me to do in order to do that, those are the people that I take on. I've got a bank of other coaches that I'll pass someone on to if it's a transactional conversation, but for the most part, it's all folks who are in their, I call it the Gen, it's our Gen Xers that are trying to figure out who they are.
This group work you're going to do,
Yeah,
or you're going to do it, it's coming.
yeah, it's already launched.
Is it sorted by people in similar career bands, or is it more sort of Gen Pop?
So executives I work with one on one. That's I will always protect that, because there's nuances and privacy and things that come there. For folks in the group, it's typically someone who's at a senior manager, director level in the career cohort. Okay, keep in mind, there's the career cohort. There is the someone who has gone through a divorce or a major loss of relationship cohort. Um, Later on this year, I'll be then taking some of that framework that I've built and launching a cohort for those who are going through a major health crisis. And then, there's people who just have this feeling of this general shift in their life that they can't name. There's just this quiet shift that they're making in their life internally that they can't name and they can't tell people around them, right? That I'll tap into. The career one, because that's been the bulk of the work that I've done. I'm taking the objective behind these cohorts are to take the framework that I've been using with executives and be able to scale it, so people who, to be honest, can't afford a high ticket coaching, but need the help, and need to figure this out. So it's that work, but in a community, which, by the way, I know we talked about this morning. The other reason for it, to do it cohort based, is, career transition, diagnosis, major life shifts are lonely.
Oh yeah.
Right? They are very lonely, because like you said, you've got a group of friends, or you've all been through some shit, right? And so you kind of bond over that. But when you're in it and you're going through it, like when Susie was in it and she was going through, you couldn't, even
Right.
as the most important person in her life, understand what she was going through, right?
Right. Right.
And so in a cohort base, there's community,
Mm.
and there are people shoulder to shoulder with you going through it, and not in a misery loves company kind of way, because that is not how I roll.
That's never been your thing,
It's never
ever.
been my thing, right? But in a way of genuine, I get you, I understand. And the learning from each other, right? You mentioned your teachable point of view, right? There's that shared learning that comes, of just how to take that. Maybe it's just that one step in life. And in a cohort based, they have that community. So earlier today we talked about ikigai, right? And finding, all of the blue zone areas in the world and the common threads between them, and community was one. And I think that it is an undervalued thing in our life right now. Everything is done remotely, right? This conversation is remote, and there's a missing that you have when you're at home and you're by yourself and you're sitting in your thoughts, that these cohorts, at least my intention of these cohorts, are for people to come together at in the wreckage and help each other get through it, because there's also learnings, right, that come from it. So we talked about it's not wasted time. It's all part of the journey. And it's not a one and done thing. You might go through a job loss today, and you go through a divorce tomorrow. You go through a death of a parent, or, heaven forbid, a spouse or something, the next year. Like you and I have both experienced a short time span in our life
Yep.
with lots of that.
Yep.
Right. And the skills that you can learn through the process. I always tell people, I'm not your therapist. I don't want you to be on the couch for the rest of your life. I want to teach you the skills that are going to help you move through the next thing that might come.
One of the things I love about the cohort space that you're talking about is it's also helpful to be able to talk to people that are going through, it's not the same, but similar circumstances. And it seems to me, and I discovered this as I went through changes, it's not just one change. It's sort of multifaceted, and those different things all come together. And I think it'd be very useful to have a place to tease that out. I would love it if you could send me a link so we can link it to this episode.
Yeah. Yeah, I will. Yeah, it's on my website, angieb.com. But I'll send it to you so you can drop it in.
Or I guess that's your subtle way of saying get off your butt and go to my website.
No, it's not. Oh, yeah. Come join me, angieb.com. Yes, the website. I'm also on YouTube, all the things.
Hey,
but,
we're going to promote the heck out of you, because I'm going to tell you, you're a great follow. I love what you're doing. I love how real you are about it all. And it's just so refreshing.
Thank you. Yeah, it's life, man, right? Like we're all in it together.
Yep, for sure. For sure. One of the things I hope that you're going to be willing to do, I'd love to have you come back periodically. And I suspect we're going to get a lot of questions for you, or maybe me, through these 2 episodes. I'd love to, and I'm putting this out there right now.
Yeah.
We'll have Angie back, and we'll do an episode just on your questions. So you send us your questions, right? You up for that?
Yeah, love it. I
love it. I love it too. I loved working with you then. I love working with you now, Angie. Just
likewise.
Thank you. Is there anything we haven't covered in these 2 episodes that you would really like to make sure we touch on?
Let's see. We talked about, I think the first episode, I hope we did a good job of, for those who are kind of going through I'm going to keep using your term of the wreckage, in either job layoff or they're staring at their ceiling, right? Wondering if they're next. I hope we gave some tangible things there. This episode, I think, was a little bit more at the heart of just life stuff, right? And that it's not wasted time. It's part of the journey, right? It's not a one and done thing. I hope that was the takeaway for people there, because life's going to keep throwing stuff,
It is. And I just want to reiterate, it's not wreckage. It's a passage
we think
into something you can't see yet.
Yes.
And you have to have faith, whatever that word means to you, and confidence that you're going to navigate this passage. You're not alone. We're all on the journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. I admire you so much for so many different reasons. And I don't get to talk to you all that much, but I consider you a dear friend, Angie, and somebody I respect immensely for so many reasons.
Me too, Brian. The feeling's mutual.
Well, I appreciate that. And I also love the work you're doing. And I keep you in my thoughts and prayers always. And I'll be in touch, because I think there's more things we can and should do together.
Sounds good. Sounds great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So you're welcome. That's it for this episode of the most important podcast ever. A huge thanks to my friend Angie Bruhn for sitting through 2 episodes and for sharing her story, and a bigger thanks to you even for listening. If you enjoyed this conversation, share it. Even if you didn't enjoy it, share it. It's going to help people and they're going to find it interesting. You can watch and listen on our YouTube channel, on all the social medias, and please follow us. It helps us out and it's free. It's still one of the best values out there. I want to thank the crew here at Streetside Studio 7, and I want to thank our hosts, Deja Blue House of Coffee, Best Cup of Coffee in Alex, and the surrounding area. And we'll see you next week.
Bye, Brian. Thank you.